G'day, how you going there, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. I'm Diesel for Getting Around Oz. Pretty exciting one coming up for you today. Just a bit of a heads up for you. We've got some new gear that was being installed on the PAJERO case, so it's going to start off with a bit of an unboxing and a bit of going through the product and specs and what it is and what it does and those types of things. Then I'm going to take you through a full installation from start to finish. Now, I'll say right now, I'm not qualified, okay? I don't have any qualifications to do any of this sort of stuff. This is just me having a go at it myself for the first time and showing you how I'm doing it, okay? So in case you want to have a go at it yourself. And then then after that, we're going to go through a full review and test it and take it through a few different types of conditions. Then we'll pop back with some thoughts at the end of it. Really excited about this one. Hope you enjoy it. But before we get into it, clearly I didn't prepare well enough for that bit. Grab yourself a can or two or three. Let's bloody get into it. Rightio, so I just want to let you know straight off the bat, we were given these by Vic Off-Road for the purpose of testing these and reviewing these and ultimately doing this video. So this is sponsored by them and thank you. But there's no expectations to what we say or how we say it. That part's up to me, so whether it's good or bad, I'm just going to let rip and let you know my thoughts. Now straight off the bat, they do have a 5-year warranty, as you can see on the box there. They are IP68, so I'll be honest with you, I actually had a look at quite a few different brands and before I had the opportunity to do this, and they do come with different ratings, but IP68 means it's water and dust proof up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. Got the instruction manual here, which looks to have a fair bit of info there. So what we have here is, these are 9-inch laser driving lights or spotties. Again, so it comes with the black protectors, so you got the clear ones or the black ones there. I guess choose whichever you please. I think for me, I'll go with the black ones. I think they sort of fit the housing better. So with this one here, you've got the laser in the middle there, and we've got 8 Osram LED chips around there. So this one here is going to obviously produce most of the light, but obviously you've got these ones here to help out with a bit of spread. The cover there is made of polycarbonate, which is the same sort of stuff they use for sunglasses and motorbike helmet visors. The housing itself is aluminium. Now, I'm just having a bit of a look around here because I haven't actually sort of had a good look at this. No, the cabling looks to be fixed pretty well. It looks to be pretty strong and finished pretty well, to be honest with you. Now, bits that come with it, we've got these 2 rubber, I don't know whether they call them gaskets, but basically they'll go under these brackets here to try and absorb some of the shock from the corrugations. Now, this is another reason I went with these ones as opposed to some other brands, was these are 4mm stainless steel brackets. You can get them in aluminium and different types of steel, but for me, stainless was the go, and these look to be really bloody strong. So we've got those 2. Got a bag of bolts here. Looks to be way more than I'm ever going to need, that's for sure. So there's the big ones there, so shouldn't have any problems trying to get it sorted. And the other part for me going with these ones was, and I'll just get these out for you, the wiring harness. So these ones come with the button, as you can see there, which is removable. Now, at this point, I'm not sure if I'm going to use that switch there or I'm going to grab another switch, because on the PAJERO there is one slot that's available. Yeah, so I'm not quite sold on that one there yet, but we'll see how we go. But basically it's a harness for plug and play. Now these are 5,700 Kelvin or 5,700 K. That's the light rating. Basically that's the color rating for how white or how yellow it is, essentially, or how warm or cool, however you want to look at it. These ones here are basically, it means it's really white, sort of more concentrated light, which I like, as opposed to, in my eyes, the sort of more the washed out sort of yellow. Distance wise, one lux at 2.226K, so a tickle over 2.2Ks is the rated distance for the beam. Lumens wise, 15,000 lumens, or sorry, a tickle over 15,000 lumens for the pair, so half that for each one. Weight wise, these are 8 kilos each. So with driving lights, the biggest concern most likely would be whether I go with laser or LED. Now, first thing is, laser is more expensive. But what laser can do is, with the laser beam here, you can actually go faster. You can actually see further up the road. It will give a more direct light as well. It will give a more concentrated white color, as opposed to, like, LEDs give you a better spread, but it's a little bit more washed out and a bit less direct. Other thing about laser is as well, it's more power efficient. It takes less power to use it, sorry. They won't get as hot as your LEDs. And now the other reason we've gone with the LEDs as opposed to lasers, we got these because in the day it's for safety for us when we're towing. Now we don't normally like to tow at night because of the skippies, and I've hit a couple of skippies and I've had quite a few close calls. I've hit one on the Nullarbor, I hit one in driving out from the Daily Waters pub up in the Territory, and driving through Central Australia. I've driven through a pack of big reds, and I had no chance, and it would have run off my car. But nowadays, towing with the family, what I want something I can see further up the road. In my experience, skippies have come out of nowhere, and when they're coming out, or even if you got a bigger clearing and they're coming, there's not much you can do. It's more a case of just holding on and trying to ride it. And I've also come across times on the road, more in the northern parts of Australia, where cattle sleep on the road. It's not uncommon to see a pack of bloody horses on the road, or I've seen a big bull cleaned up on a road, and it's literally covering half the road, and I sort of had to drive around it, and had a few close calls out there. So for me, if I can see further up the road, especially while I'm towing, because when you're towing you clearly can't pull up as fast as you can in a car. If I can see further up the road, then I feel like I'm more of a chance to see a potential danger. I've just removed the antenna where I had on the nudge bar there. I'll just chuck up a shot now. And the way I did that was I just cut the bloody wire and I reattached the coax another time. So screw those on, get them on there first. And I can join them up a bit. Fairly bloody easy. That's all fairly simple. See there, I'll be able to adjust him, but swim hand tight for the moment. Big old bolts here should do it. Let's go. Now the idea is with these, bigger bolt in the middle, two smaller bolts on the other side. But as you can see here with the nudge bar, I've just got the one. So I'm going to have to go with that. There we go. Rightio, so here I am back a week later. The weather's still pretty average here at the moment, so I've got the car sort of half here in the garage. It's sort of stuffed in. I had to sort of push the boat around and make room, but it is what it is, and I'll just have to make do with the time I've got. Now, we've got the spotties in here, they're fixed. Now, at this point, I've committed to doing all the wiring myself, because I feel like, although we got the chance to do a review on these spotties, a consideration for us previously was, okay, if I'm looking at spotties, how much the spotty's going to cost, and how much is it going to cost about to get them installed, you know? So it's money on top of money. I'm not trained to do this sort of stuff. I don't have any qualifications in any of this. I'm going to have a crack. In the day, you're going to get to see what it's like. I'm going to try and show you as much as I can, because I watched a lot of videos and I found it hard to find information on different things, especially when it came to the PAJERO. No one sort of had done it sort of start to finish, and I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. It may not work and it may be a complete balls up, but if it is, it's going to be a bit of a laugh for you. But if it's right and it works out, then hopefully, if you're someone like me in the same position, you know, maybe you can have a crack at it and do it yourself. I don't know, but we're going to see how we get on. At this point, I reckon grab yourself a can. I'm gonna be here a while. I've got a couple of these in the fridge. We'll see how we go. I'm gonna try and talk it through as much as I can here, and we'll see if we can't get all this sorted out. First off is I'm just gonna disconnect the battery, and make sure that there's no chance of you bloody getting a boot or frying anything. Now, if you're someone that has given me help to doing this, and you're checking out the video now to see how it went, thank you. I know there's quite a few of you I talk to in different forums and Facebook pages, and I must say it is a little bit daunting looking at all this here. Although it's all nice and neat and looks like it's all pretty well put together, it looks like a bit of a headache, you know, working out where do I bloody start on this thing. I'm not too sure, but what I am going to do is, I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the relay here and a couple of the grounds sorted out first. So I feel like once that's done, I can get it in the fuse box, which is right here. So I jumped on the manual of the car to find out which sort of fuse spots I needed, and obviously there's I think it's a Mitsubishi website as well. You can get information, but I feel like once I've got that in there, I've got access to the fuse box, and then I can start running wires. What I'll also do is I'll take the cover off the top of the grill here, and that'll now enable me to sort of run the cables through, and we'll start working our way through from there. I'm sure it's probably going to change a few times, but you've got to start somewhere, I guess, don't you? Rightio, so I've got that bit done now. When I removed the bit that was already there, the bit that was already fixed to the main chassis, the cabling wasn't long enough to run it to the other spot that I wanted to. But once I had that off, I could actually run the relay through there and actually get it through and feed it into where I've got it there. And I've actually run the cables out of there now, and I'll just show you what I've done. So that's the one there that I removed, but once I got that out, I was able to get the relay under and fixed on there, and I just got a bolt and a washer that I screwed on there, and I've got the cables running under. So this is the cables here that are going to go to the spotties, which that's my next spot there. I'm going to take that off and run these ones here under there, and I'm going to hook them up to spotties, and that way I can sort of forget about that. Now, as you can see there, I've actually removed the fuse, so there's no danger of anything getting blown up, as I'm led to believe. So one will go to the battery, the other one here is going to go to the ground, which is obviously just going to be there. And I've got this big white cable here, which is going to go into the car itself, which obviously has the switch. We've also got the positive negative, which in the diagram recommended to go to the positive and negative at the high beams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to earth the black cable here, and I'm going to run this red one into the fuse, which I've got the I've got this old Nava fuse tap here, which I might have a go at in a sec. But first things first, I'm actually going to take the cover off this one here and get the spotties here wide up. Then that way I can forget about that and put it to bed, and then I can come back to here, and from there on I think I'll have a go at the fuse box. And then once I got that done, then we'll try and run the wires through here. I can see I should be able to just pop all these little bits off here, just like that one there. And I'll try and be careful as well, because I have a habit of breaking things and being too bloody rough. There we go. Pretty easy to get to. Just take this other end one off here and we should be right. But I'm just going to tie up the cables here so they're not bloody loose and going to cause any trouble. On there's two bars that come out from the chassis onto the bumper bar here, and I've just cable tied on each one and left the plugs, I think they're called Deutsch plugs or Dutch plugs, going out each side, so if I ever need to disconnect these, I can do that without too much trouble. Try and get these things back in here. Now it's fairly likely as well the video is going to make this look like it was a lot easier than it was. So I've got fat fingers, and working on cars has never been easy for me. These are all nicely firmly fixed on there, that's great. That bit's done. Righty, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the bit where I'm going to run the cables through the grommet here in the engine bay to the interior of the car, because I just don't want to do the fuse bit yet, because as you can see here, this cable is really long and I'm going to have to cut it to connect it up to this. I don't want to fix this first and still have heaps of bloody length left over, so I'm thinking if I can run it through there first and have the, you know, sort of it's set to where it's going to be long enough in there, and everything running back to the engine bay might be right. So this bit, got the old bloody metal coat hanger. Obviously going to take off the switch here, but what I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to take a picture of where the colours are, just so I've got a fair idea which way it's going to go back on, because I don't want to bloody put things back on the wrong way, because again I'm not 100% on how it should all go together anyway. Actually I could probably disconnect this here. There we go. Don't even have to worry about that. So at this point it's running all these cables through the engine bay. Got a bit of tape here. I'll show you what I've done in a sec, but now I want to try to go on a down angle. And I've got clearance of where the console is, so alright, so you can see there he's come through. I don't want to come too much further because the ground wire that I need to run back in there, it's about as much as I can pull it through at this point. So I'm going to untape the coat hanger now, and I'm going to see if I've got enough from where it is now to better run it through under the center console to where the switch might be. Hopefully I can, otherwise I'm going to have to find another bloody spot to do this ground. Rightio, so I'm done inside now for the moment. All I have to do now is sort of carve out a bit for the switch, because where I want to put it, this bit's a little bit too big. But that's the only bit I have to do inside now, and the rest of it is back here in the engine bay. It wasn't too hard to do that, to be honest. It was a bit fiddly and not easy for a bigger guy like myself, but got the cable ties in there. Only thing I had to do was just pull off that bit under the glove box and run the cables through, and then cable tie up there. And lengthwise it worked out for me as well. As you can see here, I've got the two earths in there now. So I've got the earth from the cable that's going to go to the battery, so that's ready to go straight to the battery now. And the earth, sorry, the other one that's coming up through here is screwed on where the relay is there now as well. So that's all done. So the next bit for me is connecting this one up to the fuse box here. This is clearly way too bloody long, so I'll cut that off here in a minute. And there's a hole in the side of the fuse box here already from some cables that are running through to the dual battery in the back of the car there. So next bit now is connect this up to this one in here, and then I can start then I can plug the fuse in. Now I can show you what I mean by running the cables through here. Try and be careful. So you can see here those cables are running through a previously drilled hole, which I got the Auto Sparky who set up my dual battery here running through there. And I think I'm just going to have to swap over these ones here, and hopefully that bloody drill hole is just big enough to feed this one through. There we go, bloody beautiful. Now I think that's pretty close to the length that I'm going to need. Alright, so I'll go there just in case I stuff this up. Okay, so I'm just going to twist him up. I'm actually going to perfect what I'd love to solder all this up, but it's not happening today. Plug him in there. feels pretty firm. So nothing fancy there with that one. I've just tried to crimp it similar to the way it was. Now, tricky bit I have here is I can't go directly on the spot I want to because this other one here is going to block it, so I have to move a cup around here. Okay, so what I've done here was, that's the fuse tap I put in for the spotlights, and I think it was 27, 28 in the manual were the best spots to use. This one here was, I think, in spot 24, which I'm not exactly sure what it's for, but I plugged it in the spot that is the horn fuse. I think it might have been for the UHF radio. And anyway, so that all goes in there nice and easy. Okay, well, only thing left now to do is I'm just going to do a quick check over everything here to see if I've forgotten something, but I'm fairly sure I'm all clear once I put this fuse back in. This one here, which I'm going to connect on the battery, which I'll do right now while I'm talking about it. You should be ready to go. Now the switch inside, I'm going to come back another day. Obviously the weather's going to shit here. Rightio, so we're down to the last part of the install now, and that is putting on this little switch here, which is a Nava one. I'll chuck a link up on the screen there at the moment. I'll chuck in the description as well. Now I'm hoping I can use this one here. I'll jump in there in a second. I'll sort of show you where I intend on putting it. This is the switch it comes with, so I should be able to unplug these three here and plug them in the back there. But again, in regards to fixing this one, this is the desired spot here. So you can see steering wheel here, right here I've got these three, so that one there, I'll see those two work, but this one here there's nothing in there, so I'm hoping that I can actually sort of remove all this, bore that out. It is a bit bigger, looks like it's maybe a bit wider, so I might just have to maybe file off the sides here if I can to make it work. And again, I'm not exactly sure how to bloody take this thing off, so there's a screw there. Gotta take this off. There's another screw here, and anyway, I'll just start unscrewing things and it'll come off here some way. Alright, so what I did was, this came off, that one there, so it goes in like that, and I just gently sort of eased him off, and now I've got access to the back of this one here, and that's where I'm going to try and get him. So looks like that's just a plug. I'll see if I can pull it out. So there you go, he's out now, just popped out. That's all it is. So if you got one the same, it's pretty easy just to get him to pop out. And righty, so I'm just going to file away at him there and just give him just enough so this one clicks in there, and we should be good to go. Alright, tell you what, I'm not spoiled for length with those bloody cables. There we go, nice and snug. What's that? Bloody beautiful. The only thing I would add with that one there and trying to file it off, remember it is only plastic, so you don't really need to file too hard, and the switch itself sort of lends itself to being sort of pushed in order, you know, sort of remain firm, which is what I've done there. And that's all done now. Now I just got to put the dash back together, which was pretty easy. Now to tidy up the job here, I've got some split tubing here. I'll chuck it up the screen so you can see what it is for yourself. And I've got some cable ties here as well, which I'm just going to use to cover this all the way up here. I won't bother showing that bit because it's not that interesting, but once I've got it done, then I'll give you a look. Down there you can see the fresh, I guess I'm trying to get my finger on there for you, the fresh one there. So that's the one going on the spotties, and I've got one of those running the whole way under there. And this one here is where the cables came in, and you can see I've got him all sort of neatly sort of done through there. You've seen the inside there before, so all in all, pretty happy with my work. Everything's all wired up, everything works, which is bloody fantastic. Next bit coming up is, you can see it's starting to get a bit darker here now. Let's get these bloody lights out and let's see how they go in the dark, because I haven't actually tried them yet. I'm at it's on a bit of an incline. I haven't really sort of set up the spotties or adjusted them too much, and I hope this is working with the light on here, but I'm going to try and find a bit of a flatter sort of area here. Where I am now, it's all bloody uphill. Now I've got the other GoPro here, which I'll stick out the window. Alright, so I'm on a little bit of an incline. That's the driving lights there. That's the high beams. Boom, there's the spotties. Holy shit. Pretty interesting. I'm not sure if it's showing up in the camera, but actually see the two lasers up there in the bloody hill. And there's no doubt about me being able to see way up the road here, that's for sure. So start again. Normal lights. Fog lights on, high beams, boom, spotties. Bloody hell. They weren't lying when you know, you hear people say it turns night into day. It's exactly what it's bloody done here. So this is all uphill here, so I can see way up the road there. I guess one thing the lasers do is I can see way up the end of the road with those ones, but the spread of all the LEDs looks to have done a pretty bloody good job, but very happy with that. Rightio, standard lights, fog lights, high beams, spotties. Jesus Christ. At this point, I'm actually quite surprised how well I can see directly next to the car. Remembering the reason I chose to go for the lasers first, the normal LEDs, was I wanted to see distance, and where I am now, sort of, it's all uphill anyway, so I'm not sure in regards to distance how well I can go. I'll be able to test it out more when I get in the blacktop. I'm actually on the blacktop here now, and I found a little spot out here, and trying to find this spot here. I actually, where was I? I was down a road there and I seen a car drive past a road up ahead. It was clear as day. Now I thought, oh, I'll just watch the speedo here and see how far up the road it was. It was 900 meters up the road, and I could see this car just cross the road clear as. So that was accidental. I didn't actually bloody mean to see that. But there you go, 900 meters away, I can see a car clear as. Viewing angle wise, it's pretty much 45 degrees out from the car. Now there was a, driving out to this spot here, there was a rabbit across the road, probably a few hundred meters up the road there. I can see it clear as. Just sort of bum, 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 bum. Got to be honest with you, I don't know how I've ever done without them. Now I've got them. As for night driving now, I feel like I've tested these out pretty well. I've got to say, is a massive bloody difference. I felt like once I turned these off, my high beams were my parking lights or my fog lights pretty much. So once you've experienced them, you definitely can't go back to normal lights. Now the laser beams as well were quite odd. I didn't know what to expect, but you got the lights themselves, and you know, like I said to you, probably a 45 degree viewing angle out the side of the car there, but it's sort of a bit odd sort of having the two lights up the road there. So I'll tinker that, and again, I'm not sure if it shows up on the camera, but I'll tinker that and probably try and get them so they actually sort of sit up on the top of the road themselves, which actually might help me see further. I'm not too sure, but again, these were sort of done by hand. A bit of, now I'm going to test them out some corrugations, and probably come back to you in a few weeks, I think, once I've actually given these a good test, and we'll see how they fared with some more challenging conditions. So I've got a break in the weather here now, and I'm going to try and knock out this last bit of the video here. I've had these on a little while now, and the last test I had was getting these out off-road and having the guts shaken out of them basically, and they come up pretty well. The brackets, they're tough as anything. Look, the brackets have held up, no problems at all there. I think I mentioned a little while ago about when I was out testing these at night and the lights sort of went down a bit. So I guess it's like anything, once you're using it from new, you just got to retension a couple of times to actually get it settled in, and once I've done that and these have been shaken up, they've handled fine, so there's no worries there. So I'll start off with the cons of these ones. Obviously the cons of lasers versus LEDs, the lasers are a bit more expensive. Now the only real con I had was the bolts here, and I'll just chuck up a shot now. The bolts, after a little while there, you can sort of see they're starting to rust, which means they're clearly not stainless. So while I like so much about this, that's just a touch I reckon would be worth considering for the guys. It doesn't in any way have anything to do with the performance of these lights, and I've got to say, these lights have been bloody fantastic. They're so good. I've got to say, I've been a bit naive in thinking that we don't need spotlights or driving lights or whatever you want to call them. High beams are fine. Towing at night with the family, I feel like now I can, you know, do that with a bit of confidence. And, you know, the fact I could see a car crossing the road 900 meters away, honestly, it felt like it was just in front of me. I didn't realize how far away it was until I started watching the clock as I was driving up to it. Structurally, these things are held up pretty well. There's no marks. The screen's been hit by some stones and those types of things. There's no worries at all. Now, something else was a big thing for me. Now, remembering I've never installed anything like this before in my life, but I wanted to have a crack because a consideration for lights is not just buying the lights, is how much is it going to cost me to get someone to fit these things. And when you see plug and play, what does that really mean? Does it just honestly mean you just plug them in and connect it up and off you go, other than having to, you know, earth a couple of points and use a fuse tap? Because of my setup, it literally was plug and play. The switch I didn't use, it functioned well. It was pretty easy, but obviously I used a different switch in mine. These things are fantastic. They were definitely the right choice for us. And again, dealing with thick off-road and these LIGHTFOX lights happy to, you know, to give an honest review on these ones, and I would definitely happily recommend these for you. So I'll chuck the link in the description if you want to check these out. I think they come with a light bar kit as well. I'm not sure what the difference is, but I would be interested to know. If you've got lights, what do you got? Tell me a bit about them, some pros and cons. Would be helpful for people watching this. But the light bar, if you've got a light bar, what's it like and what does it add? Because on the top of the front of the roof rack there, definitely considered it and still thinking about it. You know, lighting wise, these sort of give off a 45-degree angle from the car, which I reckon's good enough. But how much extra light does it give you in between having a light bar? I'm not too sure, but I would like to hear your thoughts on those that have got it. But anyway, I reckon that's enough. So if you're thinking about getting a set of driving lights, recommend these ones, give them a crack for sure. But that Vic Off-Road do have a lot of really good LED ones there as well. So have a look for yourself and see if you can find something you like. Well, that's about it from me. I'm a very happy person at this point in time, and I reckon I'll about wrap it up there. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope it was helpful. Feel free to chuck any questions in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Remember, I'm not qualified or trained. Super appreciative you're hanging around to watch the video this far through, and even if you just checked us out, thank you again. Chuck a like in there and appreciate that one. I'm Diesel for Getting Around Oz, Camper Trailer Traveling. We'll catch the next one. Hooroo.